Welcome to some new r/malicious compliance stories, where people comply to the letter, but not the spirit of a request. I hope you had a great day. The first story is called Like Middle School. My workplace is quite large. According to a pedometer app, I rock about 5 miles per night on average during a shift. The manager's booth is all the way on one side, and my work area is typically the complete opposite side, with bathrooms in the middle. Every day we have a huddle where we all get our assignments for the day and any updates on broken equipment, etc. These can be quick 5-minute deals or 45 minutes, depending on what all is discussed. On this particular day, our huddle was probably one of the longest. A solid 40 minutes or so standing there listening, waiting to actually do my job. After this, we take about 20 minutes to gather all our supplies and get to our assigned area. So this day I get all my supplies together and head over. By the time I'm in my work area, it's already been an hour with zero work done. Suddenly I get a cramp in my gut, realize I really need to go to the bathroom, and go do so. I won't go into detail, but my stomach was angry. So I finish up, go back over, and the boss is now standing there, asking where I've been. I explain I was in the bathroom. He insists I should still have some work done by now, as we are now 90+ minutes into the shift. Then he says that I need to ask permission to go to the bathroom, like this is middle school or something. I am 28. This is far from my first job, and I have never failed to accomplish all tasks by the end of my shifts here, even if I start off an hour or two behind. At first I said absolutely not, I was angry. But then I realized what this would mean. Every single time I pee, every time I stop to get some water or a snack, I'm going all the way over to this man's booth and I'm telling him. And when he asks why productivity is lower, I can explain that he is the reason. I'm rocking the quarter mile over to your office to let you know every single time I go to the bathroom or do anything just like you asked. And I'm definitely not walking fast. At least I'm hourly. The next story is called Followed Orders. I was on the IT staff for a manufacturing company based in the area. They have 5 locations within driving distance of me. My job required supporting the 5 locations. My boss told me a few weeks into the job not to make any special trips to any of the other locations. I was based at the main plant. When we got new employees, one of the other guys in another state sets up the new machines and sends it to me to hand out to the new employee. One day I get some new laptops for employees in one of the remote locations I support. Following my supervisor's explicit instructions, I decide I will make my normal trip to the remote site the next day. My supervisor comes in and asks why I didn't take the laptops to the remote office. I told her I was following her instructions and was planning to take the machines the next day. She gets upset with me and tells me I should have known that this was the exception. I offered to make a special trip up to deliver the laptops, but she told me she would have the new full-time IT guy take them up. They still didn't get delivered until the next day, as the new guy didn't make the trip until then. Guess it wasn't that important that the new employee get their laptops that same day. Suffice it to say, my contract job ended the next Friday. Probably for the best. The third story is called Print Everything. In the early 2000s, I worked as a Unix administrator at a small company that sold flowers. Back then we had multiple roles, including security, database, mail and network administration. One of my roles was to create the IDs for new salespeople across the world. It wasn't a huge amount of turnover, but each Valentine's Day and Mother's Day there would be a huge uptick as temporary staff got added. We'd add about 1,000 temporary sales and inventory workers leading up to these days. To create the IDs, I generated a report and ran a script. However, I had to get approval from my manager before I could actually create the IDs. Each new user had a bunch of data, including name, extension, etc. The process was to print out the user packet and send it to the manager for approval. With 1 or 2 people, it's no big deal to print it out. With 1,000 users, I figured I'd just send a spreadsheet with a column to approve or not. I wrote the report that generated the CSV, and it was a lot easier for me to use than printed pages. I sent the spreadsheet to the manager. He never replied. I followed up with a call and we sent the email. He said he'd get to it. A week later it hasn't been approved and another 100 users are pending. I remind him that I need to sign off. He still doesn't get back to me. Finally I get hauled up to some senior manager to get scolded. I explained that I need the approvals and that I'm waiting. The approving manager is set off when he hears that. He screams to his boss that I didn't follow the procedure and print out the forms. The forms have to be filed, apparently. By the time I finished printing, we'd gone through 5 reams of paper and dozens of folders, staples and other supplies. All of this so the approver can check off their approval and sign his name. On top of that, I then had to process each one individually. It took 2 days for something that normally took 2 minutes. I get the need for paperwork and bureaucracy. If someone gets added without approval, that's a bad thing, as they have access to all customer data. But the policy changed immediately after this to allow an email and a single printout of all names as the required paper trail. The last story is called Follow Protocol. I did some service work on advertisement displays on gas stations. Working on gas stations is highly regulated. You need to wear protective clothing, signal vest, goggles, security boots, helmet, and secure your workplace. 1.5 meters around you, nobody else is allowed. This is even the case when you are working in the customer area, where everybody else, including the staff, walks around casually. The certifications needed to do this work are boring as heck, take a whole weekend of my precious time, and must be done once a year. If the oil company finds out you did not follow this protocol, you risk your contract. Our customer explicitly writes in every work order and sign-off sheet that this protocol has to be/was followed. We text sign this. If we do not follow protocol, we are really screwed. I was having a really bad day. The last call was somewhere remote, but from where I was, it would only take an hour to drive. From where I usually start, it would be more than 2. The reported error was something that could be solved easily by rebooting a system. And frankly, we have never understood why this was an issue that needed an on-site visit from us. But the customer insisted. When this particular error happens, we usually go on site, suit up, tell the manager what we need to do and ask them to step a little to the side. In 9 out of 10 cases, the reboot button can be reached with a long screwdriver, so no ladder and no secure work area is needed. Takes less than 5 minutes. Confirming that everything works with the customer takes 10 minutes. This stretches the security protocol just a little bit, but we all, techs working with this customer, agreed that this would be okay. Nobody would be endangered, and in the special case everyone would benefit. So I called dispatch and informed them at 1500 that I would head out to this location. At 1600, I could literally see the sign of the gas station up ahead. My phone rang. I was informed that our customer ordered me to abort, because today they only work until 1630. I tried to reason that this job would be done in less than 15 minutes and that I already was on site. No, the customer wanted to leave early today. I was furious. So as I arrived the next day, I did what every responsible tech would do. I assessed the situation and found that the one button I needed to push was just out of reach, and thus I needed to set up a ladder. This meant I needed to set up a proper workplace. This meant by the safety regulations I needed to close down the registers. I informed the manager. And to my great surprise, he did not like this. Dispatch informed our customer of the situation. I was told to wait while they discussed the situation. An hour later, I had a nice chat with the manager and a really good coffee. The customer asked if I could do the work without securing my work zone. Naturally, I informed them that I am a certified technician and that the security regulations are very clear about what has to be done. I also reminded them that it was in their work order and sign-off sheet, that I and the local manager need to sign, that all security measures had been taken. They needed to discuss the matter a little more, so I got another coffee. An hour later, I was asked again to just do my work without closing down the registers. I reminded them of the security protocol, but offered to do as they asked if they would send me this in writing. 1 coffee later, I was cleared to leave the site. This could have been the end of it, but no. As this device still needed a reboot, I got a work order for it 2 days later. And lo and behold, the button was still just out of reach. Same game, same outcome. So instead of letting me do my job when I was already on site, they paid me an absurd amount for not doing my job because of a very strict security protocol they insisted on. And with that, we end today's video. Let me know what you think about the stories. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate the stories and today's video? I hope you enjoyed the video. If you like what I do and would like to support me, please subscribe and hit the like button. And if you want to support me even further, why don't you check out the channel membership? I hope you have a great day. Stay safe. Bye bye.